Yeah, it's really appealing to go ahead and do that Uncle Escape, combo check. It's kind of bad if, for instance, if with the rando swords, you go do the Uncle check and then suddenly there's a sword in sync after you saved and quit. But it looks like we are getting started here, and it looks like a little divergence already here at the beginning. Apathy opting to start its sync, but is taking a save and quit. And fylion starting here at the house. And those first two chests sank just 3 bombs. The house, just a heart piece. This is kind of like a normal start for most of these races. fylion going to be doing this tree pull. Looks like it is just green rupees today. So I guess we won't be seeing too much of that. That doesn't really benefit us that greatly at this point.
Yeah, it looks like both runners now heading up. And I imagine they'll probably just both clear out the front of Escape.
All right, $300. That's nice to have early on. That 300 will basically cover the bottle vendor in Kakariko, so we won't have to worry about that going forward.
And both players are actually getting a full magic drop, which isn't going to be helpful till we find a magic item, but it's never a bad thing to get that full magic right off the bat.
All right, so Apathy opting to follow in fylyon's footsteps here. Just a little behind. That is only due to that check of the sync chest. But also having those 3 bombs, if a small key does come into play, it would be a little wild, but it doesn't look like that small key is going to come into play. But, if it does, we could see, Apathy head to the back of Escape through the dark rooms. We do have the opportunity for a lamp to show up still, but that is yet to be seen.
It's worth noting that technically the items they're getting here are not in logic, since that small key is logically required for these next 2 items, which would require either the lamp or glove. That's not going to stop these players from picking them up anyway.
Yeah, that's that one piece of logic I think a lot of people just ignore and kind of throw out the window. Yeah, let's see, $20 just there. So no progression yet here in Escape. The good news with open mode here, we're not going to have to rescue Zelda and drag her through Escape. That's always a time waste in my opinion, but we'll at least see what's in her cell.
Yeah, finally I'm going for the 1 pot followed by 4 slashes strat. I think it's the safest strat. apathyduck just going for the NMG 8 slash strat here. And getting chased around by that green guard. And it looks like Apathy taking a Death Warp is going to go for Dark Cross.
I've seen players with this assured setting. They really do like to make this play, and it can pay off. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you end up wasting a lot of time. One thing to note, the ropes in the back of the little snake enemies, in the back of Escape, it doesn't matter what mail you are on, green, blue, or red, they do the same amount of damage. Don't ask me how I found that out, but it was a tragedy.
Yeah, with 3 hearts, this is not the safest trek. Finally, I'm getting some bombs there from the, I guess, tier 2 tree pull, and finding a bow to start in the Lost Woods.
Yeah, bow is rather nice. We did get a map check earlier. Eastern is a crystal, and with these runners' skill levels, I'm sure we could basically clear out Eastern at this point. Too many items, I guess, kind of to leave here in Kakariko to do so right now. But that is definitely something we'll probably see these guys do in the very near future.
And apathyduck picking up looked like some money. I'm not sure how much it was, but it was definitely money in the Dark Cross. So without a key, he's not able to continue on to the back of Escape. And finally, I'm now heading into Blind Side. Apathy actually going to put off Kakariko and check out the South Shore first. And it looks like it was a 300 in Dark Cross, so that's actually going to give apathyduck Zora money. As Fylion picks up the lamp and Master Sword. Wow. So, very early on, we've got Aga in logic.
And there's a fire rod, so all the fire sources hanging out in Blind Hut today. But, yeah, Assured Sword's kind of weird, you know? You get that sword at the start, and then if you're me, you always are looking for another one. But luckily, these guys are not going to be in sword mode today, since we do have that Master Sword. Ganon's going to be damageable with that. We just need, you know, all the rest of the piece of the puzzle.
apathyduck heading over to Agina. Very early Agina check.
Yeah, a lot of runners have been routing in Agina early these days. You know, oftentimes you see runners in a race, they put Agina off in a 1v1 especially, and then something majors there, and then they both feel behind because of how, you know, early on that was available. And lately we've seen a lot of people route that in as we see a King of Samaria popping up there on the bottle vendor.
Yeah, the thing we're usually hoping for to route in Agina is a flute or a book. The flute lets you get there faster, the book lets you route it in with desert, but sometimes that's just not available. And okay, getting a mushroom out of Agina.
I guess that's a to be determined item here to see if that's actually going to pay off, but Apathy opting for the save and quit. Starting back at the house, we'll see where his next play is, as Fylion just gets a piece of heart in the back of the tavern.
And there's our first map check. That was a regular crystal at Eastern, red crystal at Desert, and I believe a regular pendant on Hera. And I think that was 10 arrows on the library.
And given what we've seen on Phylion's side, bad news for Apathy already. Heading over here to check Sahasrahla, but does not have that bow that's sitting in Lost Woods. That's going to be a little bit of a time sink. Luckily, the trek over here is not too far. And we're going to talk to the sage himself, find out that green pendant is going to be in Skullwoods today.
And we got a third sword over at Sahasrahla's hut.
I mean, I know this is Assured Swords, but guys, we don't need all of them in Sphere 1.
Yeah, the more early swords you find, the bigger of a pointer it tends to be towards Aga. Especially given we haven't found any other Dark World access pieces yet, such as a glove or hammer.
Yeah, this isn't a group race. You don't want to go diving Aga super early, especially no boots. And neither one of the runners have figured out if there's anything on the lumberjack ledge. So a lot of variables can come into play here. apathyduck now going to be picking up his bow. And Fylion going to be making use of that Tempered Sword and bow, heading over to Eastern Palace.
Alright, Fylion heading into Eastern. As apathyduck finally makes his way into Kakariko Village. So apathyduck really hoping that something is on that mushroom, otherwise his early game routing won't really pay off much here.
Yeah, not banking on it too hard initially. You know, you kind of also want to save that mushroom if possible to potentially do fake powder. It's not as common of a play. in a non-key sanity mode such as this, but some runners will take that gamble as it's not too much of a time sink.
And we got a bottle in Eastern Palace with the B in it.
Yeah, that's going to be 2 of our 3 items here from Eastern, just 1 to go. And where we get items and keys in Eastern, or rather the big key, can give us a good bit of knowledge about how this works in V31 or what the logic is here today. If we get a big key here in this next chest, we didn't really need the lamp to clear it per se. But, that vanilla big key chest, that still is a hard requirement here in the V31 advanced logic for that lamp, as we see the 3rd item already. So yeah, lamp definitely coming into play here for the logic. And Apathy picking up the chicken there in the chicken hut. Kind of thought about the chicken clip there. Decided against it. Chicken clip's always fun to watch until the one time it, it puts you in a spot where you're self-locked. But luckily that hasn't happened to these guys.
Alright, there's that big key for fylion. And we'll head over to the Armos Knights.
And fylion doing a good job of counting today, realizing we do have all 3 items, so no point in checking that big chest. It's either a map or a compass, and the opposite one is going to be here on the Armos Knights, but we do need this. This is going to be our first crystal of the seed.
apathyduck now making his way over to Eastern. And let's see how fylion takes on Armos. Interesting bottom right strat there. Gets it done nicely.
Yeah, very solid fight there from fylion. Getting that first crystal. Just 6 more to go. Alright, it'll be interesting to see here. fylion, I'm assuming, is going to be doing South Shore in some way, shape, or form. Interesting. We'll see if it'll be interesting if he decides to follow in apathyduck's footsteps here and head on over to Agina's cave, or do the traditional, dam play into Mini Moldorm and so on.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mini Moldorm cave yet. Or any of the Zor area. So I do imagine we'll see some of that stuff first before these runners start heading up towards the Aga play.
Alright, so finally I'm going to be following in apathyduck's footsteps here. Going to be heading over to the desert area to check out Agina, and I'm assuming to peek that ledge as well. So these guys should be fairly even here in just a moment. The only difference would be that little bit of a time sink apathyduck had to put in to go to Sahashala the first time. So still a very, obviously, tight race here. And I know chat does love its fetch quest, so this mushroom still waiting to see if that is going to come into play, whether or not progression's going to be there, or if it's going to be a hot waste of time. But the save and quit there from fylion. We'll see what his next move is going to be. apathyduck making his way into the vanilla big key room. Going to be getting this vanilla big key.
It looks like fylion also going to put off that mushroom and head for Mini Moldom Cave first.
So you have 5 items coming up in here. Mini Moldom Cave sometimes pays off huge dividends. It's basically that light world hype cave guarded by those pesky mini Moldorms. But let's see what we have today. Just a piece of hearts in the first chest, 3 bombs, another piece of hearts. So we're finally getting a little healthy. There's our moon pearl and a red boomerang. So I'd say that's a pretty decent cave. That moon pearl going to come in handy here. We are getting close to Zora money. We're not quite there just yet, at least for fylion. Going to be needing about 86 rupees or so, and we'll see if he decides to put that to use.
Yeah, with no glove, he's not going to be able to farm at that rupee cave, so we may end up orphaning Zora if he decides to go for that fake flipper.
And one thing to note, fylion did utilize that boomerang as we see apathyduck getting his first crystal. fylion did check to see what the stun prize was. It looks like it is a single heart today. So opportunity to farm there for rupees not really coming into play.
And just a piece of heart in Ice Rod Cave. Yeah, not really much left in logic besides Aga and I guess that mushroom. So this seed has had a very dry start. Just basically everything just pointing straight to Aga. apathyduck now setting up a fake flipper to head to the mushroom spot, while fylion sets up a different fake flipper to go do Hobo and some Zora checks.
Alright, so fylion at the Hobo. Looks like we are going to have a mirror out of logic, but that is going to be nice. Just a piece of heart over on apathyduck's side. So going to be doing that hard reset to preserve that mushroom. So we may see that fake powder play at some point from apathyduck. We'll see how things roll out for him. The mirror, though, is going to be kind of nice. That's going to make for some really nice Dark World routing. We'll be able to get all that in. And, you know, one of the beauties about sequence breaking like the runners are doing here, or at least fylion at this point, is, you know, you can kind of read where the logic's trying to point you, and you can realize, like, for instance, we're not going to be able to find those flippers behind a mirror check. So those are things these guys are keeping in mind when they do these sequence breaks, just so they can try and piece together where the items are going to be.
Yeah, and that mirror is a big find. It's going to be a huge advantage for fylion if apathyduck does skip out on Hobo. Oh, there's a 300 and an Ether medallion, so we got Zora money now. apathyduck coming close to taking a death there in Mini Moldom Cave.
And getting a full heart or a the heart piece to give him another full heart container, give him that health refill. That'll come in handy. And I believe that was just a big 20 up on Zora's ledge, so we won't be coming back here after we pay off the big fish.
Another 300. I think that is our fourth 300 we found so far.
Yeah, it was kind of, the seed was a little stingy early on with money, and then suddenly it just started throwing it at us. But at this point, I guess it's one of those things where the items are being a little stingy too as far as the progression goes. But I believe fylion now is going to be turning in, getting that fake flipper first try, going to be turning in that mushroom. Going to be realizing the heartbreak that it is of just a heart piece. But I think chat's going to get its wish, and we're going to see an Aga play here very shortly.
Yeah, it's definitely very strange kind of Aga seed. We don't really have much to do in the Dark World except just go right into pod.
Yeah, seeds like this, I mean, it's a safe bet that there is going to be a glove in pod, unless there's one on the pyramid ledge. But fylion also opting for the save, or rather the hard reset to preserve that mushroom. So both runners are going to know what that is, know it's trash, and going to be able to utilize that later on. But fylion, with that little bit of an advantage, going to be the first one to head into Hyrule Castle and up Aga Tower.
Yeah, I imagine fylion probably will check Dark Cross first, especially with that mirror to be able to get back easily. But I think he's still going to be just slightly ahead getting into Aga once apathyduck does all these Zora checks. And apathyduck does do the hobo, so both runners have the mirror.
Yeah, that's going to be good for both of these guys. Just, you know, when you play 1v1, you do want to be as efficient as possible. And, you know, not obviously they can't see each other's screens, but knowing from our vantage point that both of them are going to be on equal footing as far as the mirror goes is going to assure these guys should be able to route in pretty much everything without leaving too much straggling behind.
Yeah, and it definitely, I think, makes for a more interesting race. You know, if one of these runners had skipped the mirror and the other got it, and that led to some huge advantage, that kind of, you know, sets one runner behind for the whole race, whereas now we've got so far things are fairly close. fylion, again, will just be maybe a minute ahead or so getting into Aga here.
So apathyduck going to be getting his $300 back. So as you were mentioning, Apathy hasn't already checked that Dark Cross, so we'll be able to just head straight up in there. They should be in Aga Tower, you know, basically together, but fylion will have a little bit of an advantage, pretty much probably being at Aga or in the fight itself by the time Apathy gets on his way up the tower.
Yeah, question in chat. If you get gloves in pod, do you immediately just mirror and head to Death Mountain? I think, personally, I think that'd be a very risky play. First of all, gloves don't actually open a huge amount of stuff for us. That would give us a Pendant Tower of Hera, Back of Escape, and a couple other assorted checks. But you get a lot of items in pod, and you're right there. The last thing you want to have to do is double or even triple dip pod for no reason. So I think you want to clear out as much as you can from pod. which at this point would be basically everything except for Helmasaur.
Yeah, having the bow, you can do right side in logic. We've got lamp, so basically the Dark Maze is in logic as well. And given all things considered, I did see it mentioned in chat, we haven't checked Sick Kid. That is our one check that is left in the light world as it stands. But, you know, it's such a time investment to go over there. You know, if you're trying to make that Galaxy Brain play, sometimes it does pay off. We've seen that in a few races, but most likely, considering we need 2 pieces left to get to the Dark World, you know, it's pretty much, we're going to be doing this and we'll route it in when we can.
Yeah, and even if it is a glove or hammer or something, this is still very likely to be an Agaseed anyway, so you may as well just get it out of the way.
Alright, and down goes Aga for fylion. So finally, at the 26-minute mark, we have Dark World access. Got 3 swords, but takes 26 minutes to get to Dark World.
And just bombs on the pyramid ledge. Here's our map check. That was a pendant swamp. And I did not see where the other 5-6 was.
I want to say it was on TR. I might have missed that, but I did see a green pendant on Skull Woods. We did see that earlier, though, so that's not new information. Should probably pay a little more attention.
Alright, so fylion making the only play available to him, which is to head straight into Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, it's really good we got all that money. You know, Kiki's not cheap, especially if you get hit a lot, but these guys shouldn't take a hit. They should be fine. And just be able to pay the 110 rupee toll. You know, I'm kind of banking, just based off what we've got here, and I could be wrong, but most likely we're going to find at least 2 pieces of progression here. It's pretty easy, like I said earlier, to bank on a glove showing up here, most likely. Not guaranteed, but very likely. Now, we do have that one, like we said, that 1 check left in Light World, so that could be something, most likely not. We'll just kind of see how this pod's going to shake out for the runners today.
Yeah. The other item that might be showing up here is a flute to give us access to Death Mountain. Or, you know, there's a few other things that could show up too to open up some new locations. And that 5-6 crystal is indeed Turtle Rock. fylion now headed into the right side. 4 arrows to take out these mimics. Or 5 arrows, I guess.
Yeah, decided to miss one there, but not too big of a deal. Alright, so just 2 small keys there on the right side. We did find a map, so that means out of the 6 front chests, there can be 1 more that has something that is not a small key. That's one of the little known things, or I guess rather known things of the key logic here in Pod, or at least front of Pod. There's another small key in the basement. So fylion opting to do the mirror there. Apathyduck has joined him in Pod. So far, this has been pretty linear, and you know, not a lot of opportunity for divergence. We had a little bit early on with different starting points and different early game strategies, but it has all converged here to this kind of choke point, if you will.
Yeah, fylion getting sniped there a bit by that shooter. Down to half a heart. Gotta be a little careful. He might opt to take a death warp here instead of mirror. No, he doesn't. Ooh, that's a nice item. We got the boots.
When they were coming here, I was thinking, I really hope boots don't show up, because this opens up, a couple things. We did Aga, so Lumberjack's open now, and neither runner has checked that, so there could be progression there instead of, here, as well as Bonk Rocks. That's in play now. So, boots adds like kind of a weird factor. Obviously, you get to go fast and it's great, but at least from the progression standpoint of where these guys are at this stage of the race, I really don't feel like it adds a whole lot. It just kind of adds to the complexity of the way this logic's going.
Yeah, fylion, no hammer, so he's got no way to take out these turtles, so this is actually quite annoying.
Yeah, this is a sketchy situation right here.
And there is I think that's the third item we found, and fylion is gonna get blocked in by those turtles.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna be able to get him to move, so basically we're gonna have to push the statue. Alright, so apathyduck now has the boots. Apathy's making up a little bit of time here. These little small things are helping apathy, make up that little bit of a gap that we had. I say that, and he ends up taking a fall there. It looks like he was trying to set up. No, he's just trying to dash through. I didn't think we had the big key yet, so I was wondering why he was setting up the bomb jump.
Well, I'm going to take out that Eastern Medallion. He doesn't want to take any chances in here. There's that big key. And compass, so we do know there is an item on Helmosaur. And a piece of heart, so just the boots coming out of Pod.
Pod comes up, I'm not going to say empty, but basically it just sends you on another journey. So off we go. I'm assuming something's got to be, Bonk Rocks and or Lumberjack Ledge. We do still have, I guess this is sort of an opportunity to, turn in the sick kid check with the bottle in hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we got. Just those 3 checks.
I guess if you're going to last location something, it is best to do it early rather than late.
For sure. Alright, so here's this Bonk Rock check. And it is the hammer. So that will open up South Dark Road for us. We'll be able to get to Hype Cave, Cave 45 Stumpy, and the Digging Game. And finally, I'm not going to check. Finally, I may be forgetting about the Lumberjack Ledge.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was this is planned or an oversight. Oh, okay, I see what he's doing here. He's expending as much magic as possible. We're going to set up for that fake powder check.
So just a single green rupee. So we are now officially confirmed that Aga was required.
Also, Apathy looked as though he was gonna go back in and take on Helmosaur, but realizing doesn't have the hammer, not able to do so. And unfortunately, with Aga being done and Mirror in hand, gonna be starting on that pyramid, having to take another save and quit.
And just $50 coming off the magic bat there. apathyduck now going to get his hammer. Let's see if he makes his way up to Lumberjack Ledge. Fylion starting off at Sank, maybe just realizing he forgot something. Yeah.
All right, the blind Lumberjack Ledge check. Falling in basically in sync there.
And we got a cape.
Yeah, they even saved and quit in sync. That was fantastic. This is great to watch.
Apathyduck making his way for the swamp portal and realizes you need gloves for that.
Alright, so the sync was lost. But this is still like basically anybody's race. It's neck and neck. So Fylion opting to head to pod again. Hammer doesn't really do anything. Oh wait, no, we can clear this.
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. You might as well just get Helmosaur out of the way. As good a time as any to do it right now.
Oh no, Apathyduck taking a death there in the overworld. Just sitting here at 5 hearts. So those little green little blob dudes, I don't know what they're called, but that's what I'm naming them. They do a lot of damage. 2 hearts a hit. So you do have to be very careful here in Dark World.
Yeah, for sure. So that's going to be a bit of a time loss there for Apathyduck. And Apathyduck not going to pod just yet. So we are going to see what Hype Cave has. And we get a blue potion and a glove.
There's a glove, finally. Now we can play the game proper, I guess.
Apathyduck saving and quitting. I don't think he wanted to go back to the pyramid, although maybe he did. Alright, so that glove's going to open a lot of stuff. I find it kind of an interesting play to just save and quit at a Hype Cave and not bother with... I would have gone over and checked Stumpy and K45 and so on.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of tilt. Not 100% sure on that. I can't speak for him accurately, but taking that overworld death may not be, may not have that shaken off just yet, but going to be able to route that in, rather quickly here, depending on where he decides to go. Maybe feeling like that's probably not going to be anything, and the next play is over here in Village of Outcasts. So we will see what that's going to hold for us. We got Skull Woods on the table as well. It is a green pendant, so the potential of 3 items versus 2 is a little more appealing. That Fire Rod showing up early with the lamp, maybe an indicator to come here, but not guaranteed. So we'll see what he decides to do.
Yeah, it's also worth noting Apathyduck could have checked back of escape there. Opted to skip it, which, in my opinion, that's kind of a questionable decision, but we'll see how it goes.
I think there's only 2 items back there, and obviously those could be super important, as we see Fylion a little low on health there, but does have that cape. Gonna activate that and take down Helmosaur, no problem. Just $50 there inside the chess game for Apathyduck. But yeah, back to what I was initially saying, we're talking about back of escape. Just 2 items there. So maybe Apathyduck's trying to play the odds here, thinking maybe that's probably nothing, and I'll just head over to Village of Outcasts and get, this plethora of checks done.
Alright, Fylion starting back at the pyramid. imagine, well, he'll have to go to Hype Cave to grab those gloves. As apathyduck finishes off with the front of Thieves Town. And we didn't get anything exciting out of the front there, I don't believe.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here trying to think in what way it could really burn apathyduck for not checking Stumpy and the dig game, as well as K45. But, you know, the only thing I can really think would be a problem is Flute. And I say that only because that would require another visit to Kakariko. But I'm sure there's, you know, opportunity to route it in along the way. But just trying to think of any way to save a little bit of time there to make up for those mistakes a little earlier as we see fylion getting his glove.
Alright, so fylion is going to continue on, and we'll see those checks that Apathy skipped. Just a heart piece off of Stumpy and 10 arrows in the attic of Thieves Town. And nothing at K45. And just a compass, so no small key, but apathyduck's gonna try to go in anyway and just bonk off the door.
Well, that's I guess a little bit of a time loss, we'll say, but that was Mitts, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
This could be really, really bad for apathyduck. He may go up to Skull Woods after this.
Yeah, very true.
And isolate those mitts at dig game. So we'll see what happens. If apathyduck does go down and do those checks after Skull Woods, I should be okay. But if not, he might be in a lot of trouble. And there's a flute.
So that's huge. That actually could pull Apathy away from Skullwoods and those mitts and send him up the mountain. You know, I was talking about the flute being the thing that burned him, and it looks like, unfortunately, that commentator curse may be coming to pass. We'll see what his decision is here. Obviously, it is the best time to go ahead and mirror and activate it. We'll just see if he decides to leave, as we see just 20 bucks there on the Smith turn-in. Alright, so fylion gonna leave that purple chest for now. Meanwhile, apathyduck is Toot de la Flute. Gonna be able to use that bird to get around Hyrule.
Yeah, the flute doesn't open anything new for apathyduck, not without those mitts. As we see a shovel in the brewery. And just a bit of money in the chest game and Sea House as fylion heads into Thieves Town.
Alright, so good. Apathyduck looks like he is heading south, kind of in a roundabout way. Gonna check that brewery, get that shovel. Hopefully, for his sake, he keeps going south, gets those mitts. Hopefully keep him in this.
Yeah, that shovel might be a good thing. That shovel will drag him down towards that southern area. Yeah, he's going down there now.
Yeah, so the mid's there on the dig game. It's like, I guess for apathyduck, the perfect place to find them, just because going to be able to go up here and potentially do this whole chain of the blacksmith as well as purple chest and route that shovel in that we just got. So if you're rooting for apathyduck, you're really hoping that shovel and purple chest are going to come up big here. Alright, so apathyduck seeing just a big 20 there on the hammer peg game. apathyduck making use of that cape, going to be trying to drain his magic down and basically do the same check fylion has already done with using the cane and mushroom strat here for the fake powder. Alright, so fylion heading into the blind fight here, Thieves Town. Going to be getting that third crystal from here. Oh, giving us a disco show. And save and quit menu at the right time. Nice and bright for us. apathyduck taking that purple chest south, so let's see what that's going to have for us. But already through phase 2 for fylion. Going to be heading into phase 3. Awfully hard to see blind down there in that light now, but fylion doing a fantastic job taking blind down, getting that third crystal, also getting that flute. It's a nice place to get it. Going to be able to just mirror, activate it, feel pretty good about it. So we'll see where fylion decides to go from here.
Yeah, the mountain is looking pretty juicy right now. We can get a lot of checks done there. Or they may want to first check out the mire area. Get the info on that medallion and get a few checks in there, and they can also do a finish off Desert Palace.
So apathyduck not checking the shovel spot due to that purple chest, looking to be doing this dash strat here to mirror on top of the NPC to turn it in, getting the $50, so no value really there. We'll see if apathyduck decides to head back for the dig spot or if he decides to go somewhere else.
I guess we're not checking the dig spot.
I mean, who knows? That could save him time. I mean, fylion may put it off. It may be garbage. So, you know, it could be one of those happy accidents.
And that looked like a Bombos medallion required for Misery Mire.
Ooh, there's a hook shot. So that's going to be a nice, convenient, and logical access over to East Death Mountain. We did have access via the mirror, but without flippers, that's still out of logic technically. But able to route all these in, we could go ahead and get a peek inside Desert Palace. It's fully clearable. We may see these runners go ahead and clear that out.
And there's the powder. Both runners have already checked the magic bat using that fake powder glitch. Apathyduck going to go ahead and pick it up. It is a useful safety anyway.
Yeah, you never know when you might need it. You know, you save what? He saved 3 seconds if he doesn't check that, maybe 5. But if he leaves it, takes a death potentially down the line. If we stay at low percent, you know, hearts and green mail, you know, it could come up big. You never want to see a death in GT. You know, so in a way, I don't want to always say it's best to play safe, but, you know, you want to have that just in case, I think.
Yeah. So there's that big key on the torch. So Desert is boots locked. Getting a nice run. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a spicy find. So pretty much got everything we need except the knowledge of what we need to get inside of TR. But we could see, you know, if it's Ether or we get the required medallion on the way there, we could see a decently early Turtle Rock play.
Yeah, and that puts us potentially just a bombos away from go mode here. With Swamp Palace being a pendant, we don't need those flippers. We can fake flipper into Ice Palace.
That's very true. This is actually really interesting. It'll be interesting to see if, you know, with that overworld death that Apathyduck took, if he decides to make any gambles, you know, and just bank on dungeons. You know, a lot of runners like to bank on dungeons, but they're pretty even right now. I think the main difference is that Palace of Darkness clear with fylion heading back in there. But other than that, these guys are basically on even footing.
Yeah, that is a couple of minutes of dungeon clearing that Apathyduck will have to do at some point. But we know there's nothing on Helmosaur, so it's not going to hurt him too much for now.
And fylion showing you guys there what the advantage of having magic for the fire rod, or the ice rod in this case, is able to take down Landmo a little quicker than Apathyduck. Tempered Sword's great, but, you know, I guess when you're doing Gold Sword damage with the rods, that is a little better per se.
Alright, fylion over to see that powder. He may or may not decide to actually pick it up. Apathyduck heading back into Desert for the second item. And finally, both runners did kind of a double take on that powder, saying, don't need it, but you know what, I think I want it. And we're going to see where fylion heads next. Okay, he's going to go do a quick pit stop here, get some potions. Can't blame him on this low health situation.
fylion taking a moment there to wipe his feet on the rug inside the potion shop. Also known as not being quite close enough to the potions, but not a big deal. Having those blue potions will potentially come in handy, you know, like we were talking about safeties earlier, but Apathyduck making the play to the mountain as well as fylion. So we're going to see what the mountain's hiding for us today. fylion opting to do the old man check to get that save and quit point as well. Apathyduck, I believe, skipped over that, heading directly east. Plethora of items over here, so this could, get apathyduck back in it, give him a little bit, I don't want to say an advantage, but, get him an item quicker so he'll know he's in go mode.
Yeah, apathyduck making a lot of interesting skips. Very interesting routing here.
All right, just a big 20 on the old man. So, I don't think it's too risky to skip old man. You can get back really quick with that flute, and you don't have to bank on that save and quit point. It kind of just depends on how you're feeling for the day, and also depends on if a major item shows up there. We do see that fire shield, or that mid-tier shield, showing up there, getting a little healthier as well. I believe we're up to, what was that, 9 hearts?
Yeah, but no progression out of Paradox Cave, which is kind of unusual. Step the duck into a bomb jump. Probably check out, we'll see where he goes. We get a peek at that floating island, just 20 rupees sitting up there. And we are going to get a look now at the medallion required for Turtle Rock. apathyduck anticipating that it's Ether, but it is Bombos.
So we are indeed a Bombos medallion away from go mode. Logically, we do need flippers, but these guys probably don't want to see them. Like we were talking about earlier, we could fake flipper to Ice Palace, but when they show up, it kind of makes you consider Swamp, especially if you're frantically looking for your final go mode item. There's Quake. It's kind of what we're looking for, just the wrong little emblem on it. In my opinion, this is the type of seed you hate as a runner, especially in a competitive environment, as we just see $20 and a piece of heart here in Super Bunny. We're under an hour in, we're getting to that hour point, but the progression was very small early on, like it was just trickling for us, and we do have a good bit opened up. So, and now it's play the guessing game and hope you guess right as far as where that item could be.
Yeah, it kind of depends, I guess, on how you feel about your opponent. If you feel that you're a stronger runner than your opponent, you hate these seeds because, again, there's a lot of luck involved. But on the other hand, if you feel like your opponent is the stronger one, this is kind of the seed you want because it gives you the opportunity to make some gambles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we have been seeing quite a few gambles from apathyduck, making a lot of skips. So far haven't burned him. And both runners continue to skip the back of Escape for now. And, okay, he's probably going to check. Yeah, he's going to check King's Tomb here, and then maybe head into the back of Escape. We found our first mail upgrade there.
Yeah, finally, we're up to 10 hearts now, and finally getting a little bit of some defense. Suddenly, it's not, almost a one-hit KO feeling type seed.
apathyduck, okay, was running over to check Bonk Rocks, realized he already did that, so now it's time for back of Escape. Finally, on the other hand, looks to be making his way towards Tower of Hera, or possibly just Spike Cave, we'll see. Oh, Spec Rock hasn't been checked either. And just a couple of hearts there in back of Escape, so no big deal there. And I did not see what was inside Spec Rock, but fylion is going for it.
Was that Bombos? I believe it was. It is. So that's going to be go mode here at 59.36 for fylion.
Wow. So this seed started off really slow and then just give you everything right off the bat. And apathyduck's skips are finally going to punish him here.
Yeah, if I could compare the way the seed's progression has been, apathyduck headed back up, so maybe going to be getting that Bombos and not be too far behind. But the way the seed's progression is kind of like playing Bowser in Mario Kart. You know, you start out like super slow, and then all of a sudden you're going real fast. So, oh no, fylion taking a death. That the murder dactyl being relentless to him. That gives apathyduck a little bit of time here, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah, but let's not forget apathyduck still has to finish off Pod. So fylion has at least a couple of minutes lead here. But there is go mode for apathyduck. And yeah, so we got still... well, fylion has 3 dungeons to clear. apathyduck has 4 dungeons. So this is just going to be a bunch of straight up execution from here on. The only real luck element that can come into this is that GT big key.
Yeah, and I think we're still, you know, within that that time frame where that can come into play. We'll see how these guys' execution go, or how it goes down the stretch. I know fylyon's got great execution. fylion also doing very well in past tournaments. Apathy has as well, and I know Apathy does do a lot of NMG. So this is, in my opinion, you know, we're sitting here on Silverless and we're sitting at Tempered Sword. This is kind of where, you know, NMG players are going to shine.
Yeah, for sure. This is very close to the equipment set you would have towards the end of NMG, with the exception of that blue mail to make things a little safer. Alright, fylion heading into Mire, looking for that big key and not much else. As apathyduck just has to run straight to the back of Pod.
Yeah, once apathyduck has cleared out Pod here, we'll be able to see and more accurately judge, you know, the difference between the two. Just a compass there in the spike chest for fylion here in Mire. Mire's one of those places where the big key can kind of be aggravating to find.
One thing chat's pointing out, fylion did not pick up that blue mail, so he's sitting on 10 hearts green mail, which is definitely on the lower end of what you might have in a normal randomizer seed. So he's going to have to be a little bit careful from here on. Especially, now he did, I believe he did make a stop. Was that fylion or was that apathyduck? Yeah, it was fylion. He made that pit stop, picked up a bunch of blue potions, so he should be alright. As long as he's able to menu to those blue potions before taking a death.
I see chat was pretty entertained, as was I, at apathyduck's side shot there on the statue to open up this back portion of Pod.
I didn't even know you could do that.
That's yeah, I didn't either. That's the first time I've ever seen that. So today I learned. Alright, so apathyduck headed into this Helmosaur fight. Already got 9 hits in. That second chip coming off means 9. We need 17 total. There's the 17th one. It's popped off. And Helmosaur is now popping off on apathyduck, but with just 4 Tempered Sword slashes, apathyduck takes him down. So that's going to bring our crystal count even. However, fylyon's about to be heading into the Vidi fight. and gonna make it 5-4 at this point in just a moment.
Yeah, no spooky action glitch from fylion, so there's a few seconds apathyduck might be able to make up.
Yeah, so we're basically the equivalent of one mire clear apart. And it's not just a simple, go grab the big key type situation. They did, fylion did have to search for it, and depending on apathyduck's routing, you could actually lose some time there. But apathy is opting to head into ice. fylion gonna have to be a little careful here, down to 2 hearts, luckily already into phase 2, and able to deliver the 8 arrow shots to Vidi. Going to be getting that 5th crystal. Nicely done. Getting another heart container too, so that's always a welcomed find here, as you were talking about earlier. Being at 10 hearts, not always the most comfy situation.
Alright, so fylion now just a go mode ice palace. That'll take 3.5 to 4 minutes. And a go mode turtle rock that usually takes what, 6-7 minutes? Not to mention mountain climb. So if you do the math on that, I think we're looking at what, 12 minutes or so GT entry.
Yeah,
about a 1:18-ish.
It's going to be close to that, barring any, hopefully they don't happen, but any, unforeseen execution blunders. But both of these guys, they know what they're doing. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, so I think there is a good chance this one will come down to GT routing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. apathyduck doing a nice job there, getting that bomb jump. I believe that was first try.
Yeah. No extra menus, just one menu to switch to the hook shot was all it took.
And while we're running through here, I do want to give a quick shout out to our tracker today. We didn't mention them early on, but Iceman F1 doing the tracking for us, as we see apathyduck doing the swag spin to save a little bit of time. But yeah, we do thank Iceman so much for clicking all those buttons for us, because otherwise I wouldn't remember what all of these, crystals and pendants are.
For sure. Another thing to mention, we do have another match coming up shortly after this one on this channel, ALTTP Randomizer. That'll be BBB Kermit versus Willard J. Bradley. So that'll be starting at about 10:20 Eastern. So just about 45 minutes from now.
And this is a little bit of time here. Apathy's going to be able to make up. fylion got the bomb jump, but then took a fall from the fire bar in an unfortunate bottom right portion. So having to do it again. But apathyduck taking down Cold Stare, going to bring that crystal count. I believe that's back even at 5-5. But Apathy going to have to head on over to Meyer now, clearing that out. And that is going to be a little bit more of a time sink, obviously, than Ice Palace is today.
Alright, apathyduck opening up that mire as fylion is almost into Cold Stare. Doubled back actually to powder that anti-fairy and get a full health refill. Not a bad idea on green mail.
All right, so fylion dropping in on Cold Stare through phase 1 already. Getting the spin over there and gonna tank a couple hits here, just one actually. But doing a nice job finishing off phase 2. Gonna be getting that 6th crystal, and off we go to TR.
I'm a bit sad fylion didn't use the sword beam strat there to break Cold Stair's shell.
I don't really think it saves you any time, but
it looks cool.
Yeah, it's a nice cool strat, especially if you're running low on magic. It comes in super handy for that type of scenario.
Alright, fylion now fluting off to the mountain. Gonna run up to Turtle Rock.
Alright, so Apathy going to be getting his big key here from this chest, just like that. And off we go to fight Vidi on Apathy's side. Meanwhile, fylion going to be heading into TR here in just a moment.
Yeah, so let's take note of the time that fylion walks into Turtle Rock to give us an idea of how far ahead he is right now. And ooh, he is hammering the pegs in the wrong order.
I think that was an homage maybe to what is it? Ocarina of Time. 23 is number 1, or the combo inside the Deku tree. That's not what it is today though. It's 3, 2, 1 going right to left. But there we go, getting it right, heading in there now. Hey, that's more time for the duck to make up, right?
Yeah. Apathyduck getting off that spooky action glitch.
All right, so 1 hour 11:44 is, we'll say, when fylion headed in there, and we'll see what the difference is going to be. That was so close.
That was incredibly close. apathyduck almost taking a death to Vitreous, which might have just sealed this race, but he gets it done.
Alright, so Apathy now doing the mirror, going to be fluting on up. Meanwhile, fylion basically, I guess full clearing Turtle Rock. That's kind of what you have to do. There's not really there's a very niche scenario where you get like the God key layout and you can just skip a ton of stuff in TR. I think I've literally seen that one time, or I've experienced it one time. It was really awesome, but it doesn't happen often at all.
Yeah, more commonly you do find some key layouts where you are able to skip Laser Bridge, so that can be nice, but being able to skip like everything else, that's pretty rare.
Yeah, and with that item being on Chain Chomps, that niche scenario we were talking about, that's out the window at this point. We're going to have to at least go steal that Poke Key.
Alright, apathyduck now opening up Turtle Rock. apathyduck inside Turtle Rock at 1:14.18. So that is about a 2.5 minute lead there for fylion. So definitely it is close enough where that GT big key could make the difference. But for apathyduck, that would require him taking a different route from fylion in GT.
You know, and see, this shows what I know. I said something about stealing the pokey key, and the big key was there. So that, you know, we got to get that. So we are going to have to run around.
Yeah, it's when you don't have a vanilla big key, you can almost always skip the big chest, since you'll have enough keys. But when you are not able to steal that pokey key, it's too risky. You kind of have to do the big chest there. Oh no. Uh-oh, apathyduck. Okay, not a big deal, but apathyduck just experienced the cape glitch in Turtle Rock. That's a pretty rare glitch. It happens when you go through a door and your cape deactivates at the same time. In this case, it deactivated because he ran out of magic. When that happens, some weird stuff occurs and Link kind of gets stuck facing one direction, so he had to mirror out there. But not a huge time loss since he was pretty close to the beginning of the dungeon anyway. fylion now on the laser bridge, just needs a small key.
Down to 2 hearts, gonna have to be careful here. A death here could be very costly. Oh no!
Wow. And no fairy.
Okay, so this is good for apathy. This could, you know, kind of close that gap up a little bit, or maybe at least make up, you know, that whole potion glitch. Yeah, this race just got a lot closer. And chat pointing out that I probably caused that, so I apologize. If fylion loses this because of that, I apologize in advance.
Alright, fylion still with a decent lead though. We're seeing a lot of sword slashes. He is not happy about that death. Alright, there's that small key for fylion. He's on the Trinex now. And apathyduck now into the crystal roller room.
Alright, so the first head of Trinex is down for fylion. And doing a nice job here, getting down that second head as well. So just gonna have to play it a little safe here. You know, obviously we got the tempered, so this should be, you know, the quick 2 spins and a slash here. But obviously don't want to take a hit. Trinex does do a good bit of damage on green mail, but getting the job done, nice. And guys, we don't have a bot, but I know you guys like to play it, so I'll at least talk about it. There's a big key in GT, and there's like, what, 22? Technically 23, but we never check big chest because it can't be there. So throw those numbers in chat. Do you want to guess where that key is? And we'll see where it shows up. Edium, where do you think it's going to be today?
I always guess number 1, so that's my guess.
I'm going to just say, I don't know, let's say 13. We'll go with an unlucky number, I guess, because I cursed Phylion's laser bridge.
By the way, if you're wondering where those flippers were, apathyduck found them in the last chest of laser bridge, doing the last chest first instead of the top chest that fylion did.
So logically, we can go clear Ice Palace now, right?
Yeah. All right, fylion into GT at 119.52.
All right, off to Hope Room first. Apathyduck getting that 7th crystal now. First chest for fylion is $20. Second, 10 arrows. Going to be mirroring and heading left. I assume this route is going to take fylion full left. All right, number 3 was just $50 there on Bob's Torch.
Apathyduck now opening up Gan's Tower.
All right, so checks 4 through 7 coming up empty here for fylion. Just some keys. We're going to need those to progress, but check number 8 in the double firebar room. Let's see what we got. Silvers, that's a nice find. I guess, you know, these guys probably don't need them, but I'm sure they also won't turn them down either.
And look at this, apathyduck is going left first. This could be DM strat. If that big key is on the right side, that would put him in the lead.
Yeah, if this is the divergence apathyduck is going to need looking for this key, so keep a close eye on this. This could be the determining factor.
Oh yeah, chat makes a good point. If the big key is on the right side, apathyduck will not get the silvers.
Oh yeah, that's true. So that could be another thing to keep an eye on. This is getting a little exciting here going down the line.
Alright, fylion into Rando room. We got a blue boomerang.
Oh, I think
there
that
it
was
is.
13. Was that 13?
I wasn't counting.
I've legit never guessed that right, so that'd be fun. But there it is. So we're going up the tower now, silvers in hand. That's not what you wanted to see if you're rooting for apathyduck. However, if you're rooting for fylion, that is a great thing. Phylion's going to be off to the races here. Going to be able to just take on this gauntlet pretty quickly. Silvers, tempered sword should be pretty nice. Good news for apathy is he'll get the silvers, but unfortunately it's going to be a little too late, I think.
Yeah, at this point, it would take a disaster from fylion for him to lose this race. Alright, so fylion now onto the cannonball room.
There's those silvers for apathy. So we'll have those now. One thing to keep in mind, taking another hit. Fylion down to 2 hearts. Does have that powder. Should be okay. I think Phylion's done this gauntlet once or twice, so should be fine. Through the thick of it. Gonna switch to Fire Rod. All right, we're not gonna powder the fairy and, get the Lambos in a weird cycle.
Yeah, fylion playing this a little bit risky.
I mean, I'm assuming So if I'm in Fylion shoes, taking that laser bridge death, I'm going to feel behind. Just because the potential to god route this seed is fairly high. With the early slow progression. And then, if you make a mountain play as soon as you get flute, or as soon as you get hook and you get that bombos, you could go directly into TR, make a little bit of time up, not a whole lot, but, there's a few variables.
There's a nice pull magic drop for Fylion.
All right, Fylion opting to use the blue potion there.
Yeah, interesting timing on that potion usage.
Yeah, we got through the hard stuff. Now we're at the easy spot, so let's use the potion. But I think it was also for a potential magic refill, so that could be a factor as well. I honestly wasn't paying attention to where that magic meter was at that given point, so that could have been an issue. All right, so here we go. Full magic, Moldorm 2. Sometimes the great equalizer. We got one slash in and we got a spin in, so no stupid Moldorm problems today. I'm gonna hook shot over to this chest. Gonna leave it alone, as we should in go mode, and off we go to Agatu. As Fylion is entering Agatu, Apathy is finishing up the gauntlet, heading into land mode 2. I believe that was a nice double to start this fight off with. And I believe we got 2 singles, so we're at a 2-1-1. Just need 2 more hits. Getting a nice angle on that one. Just needs 1 more hit. Finish off Agatu and gets it. So off we go to fight Ganon.
Apathyduck, meanwhile, just coming up to the second torch, or the first torch room.
Alright, so most of you guys probably know how this works. Just need, with Tempered Sword, 12 slashes for phase 1, or 6 spins, as they count double. And same goes for phase 2, 12 slashes or 6 spins, or a combination of all the above. We are into phase 2 here for Fylion. Getting that cape out, just going to go ahead and start slashing away. Going to make use of those blue goos. With no need of the Silverless fight today. Shouldn't be an issue. And off we go into phase 3. So phase 3, we can get a random number of teleports. They are seated between the 2 runners, so there's no variance here. Unless someone falls to Ganon. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm not going to jinx this twice, hopefully, for Fylion. But just need 2 more slashes here in phase 3, and we'll be off into phase 4, where we can deliver those silver arrows into Ganon. Opening up phase 4 with a nice double. Ganon kind of appearing on top of him. That was a scary situation, but manages to not take a hit. And getting another double, so the double-double to finish it off. Fylion has that sword in the air, so pretty much that bridge is going to appear. We don't have to worry about that. Get those GGs in chat. Fylion is going to cross the line in first place and finish the seed, or the group stage rather, 2-0 against Apathyduck. We'll be moving on the losers bracket side, so GG's to him. We'll see if we can get these guys in here for an interview.
Yeah, official SRL time for Fylion, 1 hour 28 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's so fast, given how this started.
Yeah, I was not expecting a relatively quick seed. Was definitely kind of a slow drip in the beginning, and then the seed just threw everything at them pretty quickly.
All right, guys, just a quick reminder. Apathy is going to be taking on Ganon here. We do want to continue cheering him on through this fight, but do stick around. We're going to try and interview these guys if they want to join us. And on top of that, we have, as we mentioned earlier, BBB Kermit versus Willard J. Bradley coming up next on this channel. So hang around for that as well. But let's cheer apathyduck on here through this Ganon fight. All right, so we're through phase 1, on to phase 2. Just need a few hits here. Gonna opt to save on that cape magic use.
Taking a couple hits there. I think he's through to phase 3 though, so as long as he can dodge these fire bats, he should be alright. Oh, takes another hit.
Yeah, this is a little sketchy here. Down to 1 heart. Gonna have to be careful watching that fire bat that's circling. Sometimes they can just come out of nowhere and surprise the crap out of you. I gotta say, I want to bring attention to that apathyduck is using the vanilla beeping sounds for the low health. It's so fast.
At least he's not using the double speed.
That's true. Getting the single shot in, 2 single shots, so we're up to 2. Just need 2 more, make that 1 more. And yeah, there we go. Down goes Ganon for apathyduck. So gonna get that sword in the air, get those GGs in chat, and we'll get you that official SRL time as soon as he crosses the line.
And apathyduck finishes in second place with a time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 42 seconds. So overall, fairly close race. I can't really point to like any sort of one thing in particular. fylion just kind of found the items a little bit earlier than Duck did. And both runners hitting go mode in Spectacle Rock, which is a pretty rare place to hit go mode.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I mean, like you were saying, it was a very slow trickle progression, and then all of a sudden it's just like, here's everything at one time. And looks like we are joined by fylion, the winner of tonight's race, and this set of matches. GG.
Thank you. That happened.
Yeah, so kind of an interesting seed, very slow to start with, just kind of everything just pointing you straight at Aga. And then it just threw the items at you one after another.
Yeah, it was interesting. I figured it was an Aga seed about when I was doing South Shore. But I went in ahead and I cleaned up a lot of stuff, including Zora area, because if there's something you need later that's in that spot, or you end up needing it for it work out that way.
And it looks like we're also joined by apathyduck. GG's to you.
GG.
Yeah, tough loss there. So unfortunately, it looks like you are going to be eliminated from the tournament. But it was a very exciting, close race the whole way. You're pretty much just trailing fylion slightly at every opportunity there. So I saw you guys kind of in chat talking about it. But let's just get your opinion. How did you feel about how that one went?
I thought it was fine. I mean, it was pretty linear. Clear light world, forced you into pod. The only thing I was worried about was the sick kid. Maybe like having had a glove or something that opened like Death Mountain. And when I found the boots in pod, I felt pretty good at that point. And it was pretty much just played straightforward out at that point. Do Thieves Town, get your gloves. I don't even remember. It was just looking for the bombos at the end there. So
yeah. And I'm really having trouble kind of pointing to any one thing in particular that set you two apart. I think this was probably just a case of a lot of sort of small things just adding up.
Yeah, and I mean, we mentioned it early on. I think Apathy's dive over to Eastern without the bow from Lost Woods. I mean, it's not that far of a trek, but when you get a jet seed like this, that really can come into play. So seconds matter. But yeah, you guys. I mean, barring a couple of small things on each of you guys' end, you guys put on a heck of a show tonight. Doing very well with this seeds. Basically a sub 135 between both runners. That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, this one really, honestly, it came down to the GT big key. I mean, fylion did the Hope route, and apathyduck took the DM route. And if that big key had been in the compass room, this would have been probably heading to a game 3.
So Apathy, I think in chat you guys were discussing the big key routing, and with you doing the Dark Magician route that you did, you said, is that something that you do most often?
yeah, I pretty much am always going to do that. Kind of stole it from Dwayne. I just like if you're pretty decent at execution, I just think it loses the least amount of time over any like you get screwed the least on it, and you potentially, if it almost worked out where if there's no key in Hope Room and the big keys in Compass, then you can make up just buckets of time. So I don't know, it's pretty standard. The only time I'll ever divert from that is if I'm specifically playing a Boyne where I want to counterplay him if I think I need an edge or something. But I don't know, I just always do that. You can always do that. You don't have to worry about the key layouts. Pretty much the only way I'm ever going to get off of that is no fire rod or something like that.
And it looks like fylion is having a little bit of computer issues, but is in chat if you guys want to send him GGs. But fylion, since you said you put this in chat, your GT routing, is that something, hopefully you can still hear us, but is that something you normally decide to do, that full left route, or is it just kind of what you were feeling? Okay, so that was his normal route. But yeah, since it came down to that, I'm a firm believer myself in the whole, pick a route in GT, stick with it. The moment you divert from it is the one time it'll burn you. At least that's kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, I mean, you guys did fantastic tonight. I hate for Apathy that tournament runs over, but yeah, I mean, top 128, nothing to be ashamed of here, because this group this year has just been absolutely phenomenal as far as top 128 goes.
Yeah, I think most of my matches just came down to it was just a bunch of little left versus right things. Like this one where it was just a bunch of small stuff. So I had a couple. The last two seeds I did I got completely lost in them, and this one was really straightforward. So I figured if I was going to lose this one, then there's nothing else that I can do at this point. So
yeah, like I said, really can't point to any one big play in particular. So maybe worth a rewatch.
Yeah, I'll watch this one back.
Yes. So I guess we'll start wrapping up here. I do want to take a moment to shout out to our tracker Iceman, F1, doing a great job for us tonight. And our restreamer Kippy0. And of course my co-commentator Dante. Always a pleasure.
Always enjoy working with you, Eddie, and thank you, Tracker, Iceman, and Kippy for the tracking and the restreaming. The way this is going to pan out, guys, let's see. fylion with advancing is going to be awaiting the loser between Ganon's Gone Wild and Plasma Kappa. From what I can see on the challenge, nothing's been played yet, so we'll wait and see how that shakes out. Best of luck to fylion going forward in the tournament. I hope things go well for you. Since you're in chat, hopefully you can respond to folks. But keep in mind, guys, as we were mentioning, Willard J. Bradley versus BBB. How about put too many B's there? But Kermit is next. That's going to be the winners finals match. I think that's game 1 of Group S. So that's going to be one you don't want to miss. That's going to be coming up here, I think, in about 20 minutes or so, give or take. So
actually, even a little less. Looks like it should be starting in about 13 minutes from now.
That's perfect. Got time to go grab a drink and get ready to, maybe a little bite to eat, get some popcorn, get ready to watch this next race. Should be a good one. Thank you guys again for putting on a heck of a show for us. Be sure to follow the runners. These guys, putting themselves out there. We judge them. We can see what the other one's doing, so it's easy to judge like that. But basically within 4 minutes of each other, fantastic job tonight. That's going to do it for us, but we're going to pass it over to the next crew here in just a bit. So stay tuned for BBB Kermit versus Willard J. Bradley.
Yeah, have a great night, everyone.